Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a subject that's really generated a huge amount of public interest, speculation, and, frankly, strong reactions. That's the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell scandal and the whole ongoing debate around the so-called Epstein files. We've gathered quite a stack of sources, official government memos, court documents, news reports, even some viral online discussions to bring you the most important bits of information and insight.
That's right. Our job today is really to wade through all these layers of information, figure out what the sources actually tell us, and look at the different stories, the official statements, especially where they cross paths with, well, prominent public figures.
Yeah.
It's about understanding what's really there, maybe what isn't, and how information, or sometimes the lack of information, can really shape public opinion and the political scene.
Okay, so let's get into it. You might think you know this story, but digging into these sources, it reveals some really interesting angles. So just to set the scene, let's quickly recap the main points of the Epstein and Maxwell scandal, based on what our sources say. Even if you follow this closely, some details are key.
Well, what's really striking is how long this unfolded. It kicked off way back in March 2005. That's when Palm Beach police started investigating Epstein.
Right, after a 14-year-old family reported molestation at his mansion.
Exactly. And then more underage girls came forward telling police Epstein hired them for sexual massages.
Okay, let's unpack that. Epstein gets arrested July 2006. But just on one count, soliciting prostitution. Pretty minor, right, which drew criticism immediately.
Huge criticism. People accused the prosecutor of giving Epstein, special treatment. It even led to the FBI opening their own investigation.
Okay.
And this all led to that plea bargain in June 2008. Epstein pleaded guilty to state charges soliciting prostitution and soliciting from someone under 18. Got 18 months in jail.
But the big thing was that secret deal, wasn't it?
Absolutely crucial. Under this hidden arrangement, the U.S. Attorney's Office agreed not to prosecute him federally. And he mostly served his sentence in a work release program.
Which, understandably, just caused more outrage.
Exactly. And that deal, that lenient deal, it basically kicked off a decade of legal fights.
We saw Virginia Giuffre's lawsuits alleging Epstein and Maxwell set up encounters with powerful men, like Prince Andrew, who denied it all, of course.
Right.
And public interest flared up again after that Miami Herald series in late 2018. That really focused on Alexander Acosta's role, didn't it? He was Trump's labor secretary then.
Yeah, his involvement in that original plea deal came under intense scrutiny. And that leads us to what happened next.
Epstein's rearrest, July 2019. Federal sex trafficking charges this too.
Correct. Federal prosecutors in New York basically said, that old non-prosecution deal doesn't bind us. Acosta resigned just days later, amid all the public anger.
And then a month later, Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. Ruled a suicide by investigators.
A tragic end. And then the focus shifted partly to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Right. She was charged in July 2020, helping Epstein recruit and abuse girls.
Yep. Convicted December 2021, sentenced to 20 years in June 2022. So that kind of brings the legal timeline for them up to speed.
Okay, so now let's pivot to the main focus for today. The reported connections, the associations between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, as laid out in our sources. And it's really important we stress this is about reported associations, not judging guilt or innocence.
Right. And connecting this to the bigger picture, the sources definitely confirmed there was a social relationship, professional too, between them.
Like that 2002 quote from Trump.
Exactly. In New York Magazine, Trump called Epstein a terrific guy, said he was a lot of fun to be with, and then that line. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
Yeah, that quote certainly paints a picture of their dynamic at the time.
No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. That's how Trump finished the quote.
And then there's the visual proof. Photos, videos.
Lots of them, showing Trump, Epstein, Maxwell together at Mar-a-Lago, other events, going back to at least February 2000.
And Maxwell seems key to that access, right? Knowing Trump's family since the 80s.
Yeah, sources describe her as sort of crucial for Epstein getting into that circle. And then there's the pilot's testimony.
Lawrence Plavosowski Jr., what did he say?
He testified Trump flew on Epstein's private jet, the Lolita Express, as it was infamously known.
Right.
At least 7 times between 93 and 97, mostly Palm Beach to New York, sometimes with his then-wife Marla Maples, daughter Tiffany, even a nanny.
So that testimony kind of pushed back against the idea they barely knew each other.
It definitely added concrete details. And Trump's name was in Epstein's contact list, too, alongside other big names.
And the info Epstein had for Trump was apparently quite detailed.
Described as more extensive than the vast majority other contacts. Yeah. Which suggests, more than just a casual acquaintance, perhaps.
Okay. And the Mar-a-Lago connection. Virginia Giuffre mentioned that.
She did. Claims she was recruited by Maxwell at Mar-a-Lago in 2000. She was working there as a spa attendant.
Oh.
And the documents apparently show her employment records from Mar-a-Lago. And even a letter of recommendation Trump wrote for her father, who also worked there.
So, specific details linking the place and the people involved.
Right. Provides context.
Now, Trump himself,
Yeah.
he initially downplayed it, right?
Yeah.
Said he knew him like everybody in Palm Beach knew him, hadn't spoken in years, not a fan.
Yeah, that was his initial public stance. But then other sources suggest he actually banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago.
Notice that.
Around 2004, reportedly. And the reason given in those reports was a sexual assault involving a girl there.
So a potential shift in their relationship over time.
It suggests that, yeah. And it's also worth noting, when Ghislaine Maxwell was first charged in 2020, Trump, who was president then, said publicly, "I wish her well, frankly."
A comment that definitely got a lot of attention at the time.
It did.
Okay, so those are the documented associations. But then you get into the direct allegations about Trump's involvement in Epstein's crimes. And this is where it gets, well, murky.
Very murky. And it's crucial to separate speculation from what was actually presented in court.
Were there direct court accusations against Trump?
There was one specific lawsuit filed in September 2016 by a Jane Doe, sometimes identified as Katie Johnson.
Right, against both Trump and Epstein.
Yes. The lawsuit alleged Trump raped her at Epstein's place in New York back in 1994 when she was 13 and threatened her family.
And there were supporting declarations.
From a Tiffany Doe, supposedly an Epstein employee who witnessed it, and a Joan Doe, a childhood classmate.
But what happened with that case?
Well, the sources show it was ultimately withdrawn, dismissed due to procedural issues, then voluntarily dismissed right before the 2016 election.
Why?
The plaintiff's lawyer said publicly she'd received death threats, was too scared to go on.
Okay, but critics questioned the claims.
Yeah, some journalists and critics pointed to inconsistencies, lack of solid corroborating evidence. One source called it a red herring. Another even used the term wrap-up smear.
A wrap-up smear, like a tactic to discredit someone right before something important.
Exactly. So that lawsuit exists in the record, but its credibility has been seriously questioned, and it never went anywhere legally.
Right. And then more recently, there was buzz around Doe 174 in the unsealed documents.
Huge buzz online. Lots of speculation that Doe 174 was Trump.
But the documents themselves.
If you actually look at the available documents, the search functions, as some Reddit users pointed out, they don't directly link Doe 174 to anything incriminating by Trump.
And didn't Giuffre specifically deny Trump was involved in sex acts?
Yes. In one deposition, Giuffre explicitly said Trump didn't partake in any sex, though she did confirm he was a good friend of Epstein's. So a big gap between online theory and the actual document.
Okay, which brings us to the whole client list idea.
Yeah.
The belief Epstein was blackmailing people.
Yeah, that fueled a ton of conspiracy theories, especially on the right. This idea of a secret list holding powerful people accountable.
Until the DOJ and FBI weighed in.
Right. July 7th, 2025, they released a memo, said they did an exhaustive review.
And the verdict.
No incriminating client list, flat out. Also, no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no basis to investigate any uncharged third parties.
And they said no further disclosure was warranted.
Yeah, citing victim protection and the fact that child pornography was found among the materials, which, is a separate issue they wouldn't release publicly.
But that announcement, it didn't exactly calm things down, did it?
Not at all. It caused, as some sources described it, mag-o fury. Real anger among some Trump supporters.
You saw people like Elon Musk questioning Trump, right, on X.
Yeah. Musk posted, "How can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files?" He'd even claimed earlier in a deleted post that Trump was in the Epstein files, and that's why they weren't public.
So this really became a political loyalty test for Trump, in a way.
Absolutely. It caused a real split in his base. Some supporters called him out of touch when he told them, basically, stop wasting time on Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about.
And high-profile figures like Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones.
Yeah.
They were angry.
Yeah, they voiced anger, suggesting the Trump administration was now part of a cover-up. It shows how deep the distrust of official statements runs for some people.
How did Trump himself react to all this?
Well, when a reporter asked him about it, he was dismissive. Like, are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this.
And on Truth Social.
Reportedly posted a screed claiming the files were fakes, forgeries written by, Obama, Hillary Clinton, Comey, Brennan, the Biden administration, basically his usual list of political opponents.
So deflecting and attacking the premise.
Exactly. And it highlights how that narrative shifted. Remember Attorney General Pam Bondi?
Yeah, she'd said the client list was sitting on my desk.
Yeah, right. But later she clarified she meant the whole body of files, including the child pornography, which obviously wouldn't be released. A significant clarification.
And reports about Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino considering resigning.
Yeah, reports surfaced he was thinking about resigning amid the fallout over the files. It just shows the internal pressure and the political heat.
So as one source put it, Trump was losing control of the narrative.
And potentially parts of his base over this specific issue. It became a real flashpoint, fueled by that DOJ announcement contradicting the widely held list theory.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up. What are the key takeaways here? We've seen the documented links between Trump and Epstein, the flights, the parties, the quote.
Right. The confirmed associations.
We've looked at the specific 2016 lawsuit allegation, which was withdrawn and contested.
That's proven, yeah.
And the official word from the DOJ and FBI, no blackmail list found.
Despite intense public belief and speculation.
And we've seen the political fallout, especially for Trump, with division among his supporters fueled by figures like Musk and Carlson questioning the official narrative.
Yeah, it really brings us back to how complex information is now. Sources show history, travel, public statements. They also show an unproven claim and an official finding that contradicts a popular theory.
What's undeniable is the huge impact of information and, let's face it, misinformation on how people see things, especially high-profile figures, and how that plays out politically.
Absolutely. The perception, the narrative can become as powerful or even more powerful than the documented facts sometimes.
So maybe the question for you, the listener, is this. In this age of just constant scrutiny, instant information, how do we sort through it all? How do we tell the difference between solid facts, disputed claims, and all the spins surrounding big cases like this one?
Yeah, how do we navigate that? It's definitely something we're thinking about as you continue to follow stories like these.